This video is going to start off on page Word 40, and this is dealing about preparing a document for distribution. And before you distribute a document electronically to people outside your organization, it's wise to make sure that a file does not include any embedded private or confidential information. And the prepare command, which we're going to be working with on the Office menu, includes several tools for stripping a document of sensitive information, or for securing its authenticity, and for guarding it from unwanted changes once it's distributed to the public. And one of these tools that we're going to be using is the Document Inspector, which is going to detect and remove any unwanted private or confidential information from a document. Because believe it or not, there is some information in this document that we can't see. And you may look through here and say, well, you know, that's it right there. But we're going to be finding this information. So first of all, let's go ahead and press our Control key and Home key to get back up to the top of the document. And once we do that, we're going to go through and click on our Office button, and we're going to point down to Prepare, and then a little menu pops up here, and we're going to click on Properties. And you'll notice that what happens is that this new area up here that appears is what's called the Document Information panel, and that's going to open up above your document window, and it's going to show the standard document properties for the press release. And these document properties are user-defined details about the file, and it describes its contents and origin, including the name of the author, the title of the document, and keywords that you can assign to help organize and search for your files. You can easily change these by clicking and typing into these text boxes on there. But some of this information, you may have some comments in there that you probably wouldn't want everybody to see on there, because maybe we don't want people to know this is the first press release for the Wanderlust Travelog series. So some of these things we're going to get rid of here in the next steps. Step 2 tells us we're going to go ahead and click back up here on our Office button again, and we're going to point to Prepare, and then this time we're going to click on Inspect Document. That's the second option in that menu. And you'll notice that there's a list of things that are here, and this is what it's all going to check the document for. We're going to make sure that everything is selected. We're going to use this dialog box to indicate which private or identifying information you want to search for and remove from the document. So in this case, we're going to make sure that all of the checkboxes are selected. Now if there's a little menu that pops up to say yes, you need to make sure that you click on yes. But once we make sure that all these text boxes are selected, we're going to go ahead and click on Inspect. And notice that now it's taking a look and it's inspecting the document. And here it tells us that, well, there's nothing about comments, revisions, versions, or annotations. There was document properties, no XML data, no headers and footers or watermarks that were found, and no hidden text. So when we have this, it inspects our document, and it tells us what information that we may not want to be made available to the public. So in this case, we're going to click on Remove All, and this is step 4. We're going to click on Remove All from the document properties, and once we have that, we're just going to go ahead and click on Close. And if you notice, that information that was up here earlier has now been removed on there. So that makes the standard document property information is removed from this press release document, and that way so people cannot see that information anymore. Step 5 tells us that we're going to go through and we're going to click back on our Office button again. We're going to point back down to Prepare, and in this time we're going to click on where it says Mark as Final. And if we see on there, it tells us that it's going to let the readers know that the document is final, and it's going to make this read-only. And if you remember going back to read-only memory, you cannot change read-only memory on there. You can't change ROM on there. So when we click on this, it's going to give us a box that tells us that the document will be marked as final and then saved. We're going to go ahead, and this is step 6, we're going to go ahead and click on OK. Now it tells us some information that the document has been marked as final to indicate that editing is complete, and this is the final version of the document. And when it's marked as final on there, editing commands, proof marks are all turned off, and you can generally recognize that this document is marked as final when the marked as final icon displays down in the status bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on OK again. And you notice that down here there is the Mark as Final, get away from Internet Explorer here, but there's the Mark as Final button that is in the command or the status bar on there. And if you notice that up here, take a look at the ribbons. If I click on the Home ribbon, I can't click on anything. It's all been grayed out. I've known several people in the past that use Marked as Final on there to kind of mess with some of their friends, so which, you know, they'd be like, I can't do anything with my document on there, and they usually get mad and have to redo the document. However, if this happens, you can typically go back through there if you're the author and everything, and you can actually change this back to where you can edit this. So if we want to make this to where we can edit it again, all we have to do is point up to the Office button, go back to Prepare, and click on the Mark as Final again. And when you do that, notice how everything lights back up, and you can click on those items again. So when you mark something as final, if you're the author and everything on there, that is when you can make those changes of saying, yes, this is the final, or no, it's not. So I'm going to go back through here, and I'm just going to go back and mark this as final again. Click on OK twice, and you'll notice up here is the status as well. It's marked as final there. Step 7 is telling us about how to print the document on there, but in this case we're not going to print the document. You do want to go ahead and close down your document information panel just by clicking on this close button right over here. And then take a look, make sure that your document looks roughly like this. There is a completed press release on there on page Word 41, at which you can take a look and just compare your document and make sure that's what it looks like on there. Now there is some additional information that you need to take a look at. On page Word 40 there's table B1, which describes some of those features that's on there, such as the properties, inspect document, which we've worked with those two. You can also encrypt a document, and that adds an encryption so that people can't just, you know, hack into your file easily. It makes it more secure. You can add a digital signature to your file by adding an invisible digital signature to a document to verify that its authenticity and integrity is set. Of course, we've dealt with Mark as Final on that table. And then finally is Run Compatibility Checker. And if you're worried about having people being able to open your file in other versions of Word, it's typically good to run this Compatibility Checker to make sure that, see if there's any features that are not supported by previous versions of Word. Also on page 41, there's some general information there about viewing and modifying advanced document properties on there, and you can take a look at that, and it tells you some general information about that. But this concludes this series of videos, and this concludes the walkthrough on there. If you followed all through the steps, and that's out of the textbook and on these videos, this is what your document should look like, with the exception of your name on there. And make sure that you do upload this to the course sites to receive your credit. You may now go ahead and move on to the next assignment that is listed on course sites.